This AutoTrader EchoPark Automotive 300 edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog. Get up to a $1,000 deposit match when you sign up at UnderdogFantasy.com. Promo code RACESGPN.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'm just gonna put my foot on the floor and I'm not lifting till I see God or a checkered flag.
My man.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
We want to thank you tonight for these mighty machines that you brought before us. Thank you for the Dodges and the Toyotas. Thank you for the Fords. Lord, I want to thank you for my smoking hot wife tonight, Lisa. In Jesus' name, boogity, boogity, boogity.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome in to another episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez. Happy Thursday to all those who celebrate. It is, of course, the last day of the broadcast week for us, which means that it is time to start talking about our favorite DFS plays for the slate. And Underdog definitely has their picks out early. So we get to give you our favorite Underdog picks for this race as well. Cody, it's the Dover Monster Mile. It's the 1 mile pay or a concrete track. And we've talked a lot about wanting to get back to an oval, and this is the oval we get when we come back.
Yeah, it's a good one. I'm very excited for this week's race at Dover. It is nice to be back to quote unquote normal, more traditional. I mean, we say traditional. Sonoma's a traditional NASCAR track as well, but the traditional oval style of racing when we haven't seen much of that over the last month. So very excited to be back. This is a tricky one. What is it? 400 laps, I believe. So we've got a lot of DFS points out there, which is exciting. Underdogs up nice and early this week, so we got to talk about them. Been a couple of weeks since we got to talk about underdog picks on the DFS show in particular. So excitement all around.
Yeah, and I had made my picks live from the Sonoma Raceway last week, which was kind of fun. Unfortunately, neither one of them got you any sort of love on that. However, I will say when I showed my wife the video of me doing it, she goes, "You seem so out of breath." And I was like, yeah, that's the most exercise I've gotten in a very, very long time. So, I mean, I'm trying to sprint over from Kyle Larson's pit stall, all the way over to, again, it's just, it was a lot of running involved. So I can only imagine what those guys felt like getting that car for 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah, exactly. That's funny. It was great to see all your stuff over on the YouTube. And if you missed it, you can always go back and check that out anytime on the NASCAR Gambling Podcast YouTube channel. Rod uploaded a bunch of shorts there from live at Sonoma last week, which was a great to watch it all through your eyes and your vantage point.
And it was also good to see that it was a huge hit, that everybody loved our shorts. Every single person out there that watched our shorts absolutely loved our shorts. The most useful space or a useful thing for the internet to have on it.
It's my absolute favorite. Like, guarantee that was an old person that made that comment. But it's always so funny because it's like the comment was something to the effect of like, what a dumb waste of space on the internet. Like, first of all, the internet's full of wastes of space. There's much worse waste of space than a car getting pushed on. I think it was Catherine Legg getting pushed to the garage or something like that. It was nothing, okay, whatever. There's much bigger waste of space on the internet. I promise you that. But also by you commenting on this video, you've now told your algorithm you want to see more of it. So yeah, props to that guy. Pays to be a dumbass, I guess. So
I just thought it was funny because that was a very specific audience for that particular short, right? And obviously, if you're in the Discord, you know exactly why that short existed, because we've got a lot of leg lifters in there that were curious as to know the fate of Catherine Legg, and so I had to document it for the audience.
Best guess is that's probably not even a listener. Somebody just stumbled across it when they were looking through shorts. But like, you got to understand, you're not like gonna like everything you see in the shorts, and for that to pop up, you probably are already watching NASCAR content, so you probably like NASCAR anyways. But it's funny. It's just like, if you don't like something, you just keep scrolling. It's 2025, Rob. That's what you're
sorry, wasted 20 seconds of your life that you can't get back. Go back to whatever cat video you like better, and stay safe with that one. TK waving us in. Hi, TK. Good to see you here again. Speaking of things that you're gonna like everything that the SGPN has to offer, and you can find every single thing that the SGPN has to offer by downloading the app, or of course, wherever you get your other podcasts, finding us there. But again, it's very easy. Just get the app and you can find everybody's show, whether it's horse racing, whether it's, remember back in the day, they had Ultimate Frisbee. Yeah, that was up there for a little bit. I loved that. So bring me more Ultimate Frisbee.
That's right. Yes. We've had shows for just about every sport throughout the history of this network, which is great.
You know, it's funny in that it was Chase. I think it was Chase. I can't remember exactly who had the show. That was back then, but they asked me to be on the show, and I was like, guys, I have no working knowledge of Ultimate Frisbee. So I had a crash course in Ultimate Frisbee and was able to get on and host that show. And, I'm about to talk about a couple of weird sports here in a little bit, but I love me sports. And I was like, wow. This is a world.
Yeah, that's why they asked you to do it, Rod. They know you'll deep dive into any sport, and you actually like thrive on deep diving into the lesser known sports.
I wanted to go out and actually join a Ultimate Frisbee team, but I don't know that they want me at this point. First of all, I'm 2'0", and I run anymore like I'm a 45-year-old man, even though I'm 49. But yeah, all right, let's talk about Dover, shall we? I know that the Discord is raging with Discord about this 2311 and FRM thing. I would say that if you would like to talk more about it, obviously join the Discord, sg.pn/Discord. I don't know, Cody, that there's anything else right now that we can say that we haven't already said about it. It's the biggest news in the room right now, and it just feels like it's eating up a lot of bandwidth.
At this point, it's just kind of is what it is. I think we're still waiting to hear, like, NASCAR kind of refiled against. I don't know. I think we're currently in a holding pattern for what this judge in particular rules. The teams have already filled out the paperwork to be open cars this week and next week if they don't get this ruling. Now there's been reports of IndyCar teams are interested in buying these charters and all sorts of stuff. So, who knows how much of that is NASCAR just drumming up stuff and trying to force the hand. I mean, and now we're starting to get to the point where it's like petty, like, yeah, but technically this wasn't even yours. I was just letting you use it because I was being nice and you wouldn't play with it nicely. So we took it back and now you can't have it at all. And we're going to give it to this kid over here. And like, yeah, it's just whatever. But we're going to have plenty of time in the off season to continue to go through all the trial and all this stuff. So it's
that's like when you're about to break up with your significant other and all of a sudden you start showing your dating profile and you're like, look at all these women swiped up. Look at that. Do you not want this anymore? Because there's plenty of people that do. There's plenty of swipers out there that would love to swipe. So, I'm just saying. I feel like this is where we're at in the relationship.
Yep.
Gotta love it. All right. Well, then let's get straight to it. We will talk about the AutoTrader EchoPark Automotive 400, by the way, which is not, I shorted it 100 laps in the ad read. I apologize, but we are set for 400 laps around this 1 mile paved track for 400 miles even around the Dover Motor Speedway in Dover, Delaware. The Monster Mile with Miles Monster sitting there with the 48 car in his fists. We've talked about him before. We're going to talk about him again as we get going with this show.
Yeah, absolutely. It's this is a track that it's nicknamed the Monster Mile, and it's an aptly named nickname, I guess. We'll go with that. But this track is a monster. It chews these cars up, it chews the tires up, spits them out. We talked a little bit back on the betting episode. They are bringing a new tire to this race. As far as I could tell, this tire has not been tested anywhere. It's a completely different compound than we've used anywhere else. We're not going to use it anywhere else. So it's like a one-off on a track that's already tough on tires. We saw they supposedly missed a little bit on the compound somewhere or something with Bristol last year in the spring race, and it was just complete chaos. It was a lot of fun to watch, but it was insane. So I guess, if you're one of those people that enter a lot of lineups, consider that going into this. It could be just a complete shit show. I would guess that we probably won't see that, but it remains a possibility for sure with the unknown of the tire, and who knows how that's going to play into things, I suppose. So just tossing that out there.
About it this way, the NASCAR's was like, okay, so we have unpredictability. Let's just throw one more into it. We're just going to go ahead and keep throwing stuff at you so that you don't get bored and that you got plenty to complain about. So that is what they are doing. Marcus checking in saying, hi, everyone, who's your pick to win at Dover? Cody, do you know who Marcus is going to pick to win at Dover?
I think I picked the same guy as Marcus is going to pick, Rod. So, Christopher Bell, look at that. He thinks he's going to finish fifth win after finishing fifth at Sonoma this past Sunday. So, Bell is one of the guys we talked about on the betting episode. Make sure you go back and check that out. TK with a little wave as well. Hello, TK.
Good to see everybody out there as well. All right. Well, then, as we always do, we will set you up with our favorite high-price driver, our favorite mid-tier driver, and our favorite low-value driver for the slate. And then, of course, we'll break and come back and talk about some underdog fantasy plays. So, Cody, should we hit the break now? Let's hit the break early. And then, let's get that. And then we'll go ahead and come back and we'll go uninterrupted for a very decent. I will tell you first before we get anything started about our friends over at Circa. Do you think you know ball? Well, then you got to enter Circa's football contest with $21 million in guaranteed prizes. No rake. So if the entries go above when it goes above the guarantee, all that extra money is going to go to the prize pool. Circa Million. You pick 5 teams against the spread each week, or you go for the ultimate sweat. In Circa Survivor, there is even the Circa Grandissimo. That is a $100,000 Survivor contest. You got to register in person at Circa Sportsbook in Nevada, which, let's face it, you've been wanting to go to Vegas for a while. This is your excuse. Sign up and go. Sign up from Nevada and play anywhere with the help of SGPN's official proxy. Go to footballcontest.com and use promo code SGPN to get $50 off of your proxy fees. Let's tell you about our friends over at MyBookie. We're brought to you by MyBookie.ag. MyBookie is your place to bet on every sport, including the MLB, WNBA, golf, and, of course, football futures. MyBookie accepts customers from a ton of locations. There's easy deposit, lightning fast payout using cryptocurrency. CFL about to kick off tonight. It is the Argonauts and the Montreal Alouettes. I told you yesterday, in fact, the Argos were 10.5-point underdogs. Now they have tightened up to 10-point underdogs. I'm still going to take them at +10. I know Montreal is on a hot streak, but I mean, come on, Toronto, the defending Grey Cup champions. They're not going to get beat on the road by 10 points. Nope. So give me Toronto Argonauts +10 at -110. Also, hurling. There's hurling out there as well. Do you think Cork or Tipperary can throw under or over 61.5? Well, you can bet on that too. -115 on either side of that. If you would like to bet on Cork or Tipperary to throw over or under 61.5, absolutely love it. Go right now to mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply. That's mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN. Didn't think you'd get hurling on here, huh?
I did think I would get it on here, Rod. I don't put any sport past. There's no sport you could name that I would put past you dropping on the show, which is exactly why they asked you at one point to be on the Ultimate Frisbee show.
I absolutely love it. Have you watched hurling? Have you ever watched it before?
I mean, I've probably seen like videos or in passing. I don't know that I've sat down and physically watched hurling before, but there's a first time for everything.
It's fantastic. Those Gaelic sports are amazing. Like throwing the raw, I just like, it's just, yeah, damn, that person's strong. I'll never, ever be that strong.
Yeah, some of those sports, like obviously, in America we've got our main sports and stuff like that, but sometimes it is those more like Olympic type sports like that. It is fun to watch because sometimes they're very basic, but hard, and like it takes a lot of physical strength and a lot of technique to be good at it, and some of them are really freaking
Agreed.
good at
Speaking of technique and needing a lot of it to do what you do, NASCAR drivers, they need all of that. So, Cody, let's start to go over our some of them don't have it, but some of them think they do. And then anyways, yeah, let's start loading up with our high price drivers for this race at Dover.
Yeah, John checking in the chat, by the way, says Kyle Larson will make a comeback at Dover. But, Rod, I am going to go to Denny Hamlin as my top driver this week. $11,000. Talked about him on the betting episode quite a bit. Very, very all in on James Dennis Allen Hamlin this week. He has been really good here in the next gen. Going over to Ryan at iFantasy Race 2024, he was the first in the best driver rating, best total speed ranking, led 136 laps. You're going to need that, right? Dominated in closing time. Course goes on to win the race. 2023 finished in 5th, 4.9 average running position, 3rd best in total speed ranking. And then in 2022, he might have had the best car. Started 2nd, led 67 laps early, but lost a wheel and then got back up to 4th, fought all the way back up to 4th. Cody Ware spun in front of him, clipped him, and kind of ruined his day with the 21st place finish. But the point is, he's been extremely good on this track in particular. He's also been really, really good lately here in the Cup Series. So 20th at Sonoma last week, road course fine. 31st at Atlanta, super speedway drafting track, quote unquote. So if you take those two results out, you got a 4th at Chicago, even with the street race. But Pocono leads 32 laps, finishes in 2nd place. Michigan only led 5 laps, but finished in 1st. Nashville led 79 laps, finished in 3rd place. He led 53 laps back at Charlotte. He finished 2nd at Bristol. Kyle Larson led about every lap in that race, but I think he ran 2nd just about the entire day. Very comparable track. He won at Darlington as well. Very comparable track. Denny Hamlin has been on absolute fire here lately on the more quote-unquote normal ovals, and he's been extremely good at this track in particular. His team's been good at this track in particular. Give me Denny Hamlin. Is he top of the boys? Near the top. Kyle Larson is actually the top of the board at 11.5, but I like Denny at 11,000.
Yeah, and I think I talked a little bit about Denny yesterday anyways, and I do agree with you that can't ignore how good he's been on this track. Now, lately, like you said, he has had some pretty solid finishes, but it does give you pause that the eye test doesn't see Denny Hamlin in victory lane every week or competing for a win every week. And so then you start to forget that Denny Hamlin is still good. So I like it. And maybe that's exactly what people are going to be doing when they load up their lineups and go, well, yeah, Denny's good, but lately.
And yeah, I think like don't overthink a bad finish at Atlanta, not a great run at Sonoma because of the types of track those are. And like if you look at the rest of the body of work and even tossing Chicago in there, if you want some positive here lately, it's been a lot of good.
I concur. Speaking of a lot of good, it's been a lot of good for Chase Elliott lately, and I'm going to take a discount on Chase Elliott at $10,000 over Denny Hamlin's $11,000. And yeah, take Chase Elliott. When you look at our friends over at iFantasy Race, they have their Dover NASCAR Next Gen average finishes. Chase Elliott, top of the list, average finish of 5.7. He's tied with Ross Chastain in that regard, but finishes of 1st, 11th, and 5th in those 3 races in the next gen era. But his success at this track spans even farther back than that, right? 10 top 10 finishes in 14 starts. He's got a string of 4 straight. 3 out of 4 are all top 5 finishes for Chase Elliott. Before that, a 39th place finish kind of ruined that in 2020, but 5th place before that, 38th in 2019, but 5th, 1st, 12th, 2nd, 5th, 3rd, right? I mean, all 10 of his top 10s, have been top 5 finishes as well. Average finish here of 9.5. How does that translate? Well, in 2024, that translated to 69 fantasy points.
Nice.
And then in 2023, unfortunately, it only got you 31.45, but that was, of course, the race where he did not finish well. However, in 2022, he got you 81.1 fantasy points, led 73 laps, had 33 fastest laps, obviously won that race. I mean, that's really what we're looking for, right? Out of Chase Elliott. His average finish this season, 10.2. His average start, 16.6. He's riding a streak now of 4 out of the last 5 races in which he's at a top 5 finish. 3 of those top 3 finishes. Granted, yes, I know a few of those were road courses and a couple of that, one of those Pocono, but it still shows the consistency that he's got 11 top 10 finishes in 20 starts, 7 top 5s. You want to tell me a guy that with leading lap potential, especially at this particular track, as well as the ability to put in solid finishes at $10,000. Again, you're not expecting 100 or 200 points out of somebody, which you've gotten right out of Denny Hamlin, but a good solid 80-point day out of a 70-point day, a 60-point day out of Chase Elliott could be good enough, depending on what all those other high-priced drivers do for you. But yeah, give me Chase Elliott. $10,000 is my high-priced driver.
I love this play. One of the streakiest drivers in the garage, on freaking fire lately. I think it's 4 top 5s in the last 5 races. You mentioned a lot of good stats to go along with it. Always really good at this track in particular as well. And as we've kind of noted throughout the weekend, this track tends to be fairly chalky. The guys who are good here are good here. The guys who are not good here are not good here for the most part, right? There's obvious outliers and things happen. But in a general sense, this track, you see a lot of guys kind of along the same lines throughout their career or throughout runs of their career, new car, old car, whatever it is, on this track in particular. So I love this play.
All right. TK saying JGR in general has been good lately, aside from the 11 engine blowing up in Chicago. That's true. Boji Joe wants Laura to answer the phone. I love that we've become a messaging system.
Is Laura? I don't even know if Laura's in here. I haven't seen her in the chat yet, but maybe she is. But if you are, Laura, answer your phone after the show. That's probably why she's not answering, Boji Joe. She's listening to the show. I mean, come on. She'll call you back after the show's over.
All right. Well then, Cody, let's take a step down to our mid-tier drivers so we can save some folks some money.
Yeah, I'm going to jump pretty far down in the mid-tier here, but Josh Berry, a guy I want to highlight, $6,800. I don't believe we talked about him on the betting episode. Wasn't really a good way to work him in based on where his number is and all of that. But 2 things. Dover it's a high-speed 1 mile track, right? But 1 mile is a lot of times considered a short track. This is not a short track. It's high speed. It's an intermediate style track, so it's going to race like that. That 21 car's had a lot of speed on those types of tracks this year, and Barry's been really good here. 1 start back in 21, old car in the 77. At that time, Spire was not a competitive team. 30th place finish. Throw it out, doesn't matter. Comes back here in 2023, filling in for an injured Alex Bowman. 10th place finish in the 48 car. Strong run. Then he comes back here last year as a rookie in the Cup Series, in the 4 car, but on an SHR team that's going away. They're going to be gone, whatever. 14th place finish. A nice, strong run for Josh Berry. 3 starts here in the Xfinity Series. 2nd, 1st, and 2nd in those 3 starts. Extremely good at this track. This track seems to agree with him. And then to my point earlier on, he's been good at the high-speed tracks. Let's just go back towards the beginning of the season, right? He leads 18 laps, wins at Las Vegas, has a great run there. Darlington was a rough day. He got wrecked out of that early. Shit's going to happen, right? But 12th place finish at Bristol for a guy at only $6,800. A 12th place finish is a good, strong run. You're looking for that. Super fast at Texas, leads 41 laps, wrecked from the lead. So the result wasn't there, but the car was fast, finished good. Kansas, high-speed intermediate. Started in 38th, so it didn't matter. That was actually great for DFS because he finished 6th. I was at that race in person, Rod. Kyle Larson might have led every single lap of that race. Josh Berry had the fastest car on the track. Maybe Larson was a little better, but Josh Berry was so freaking fast in person. It was unbelievable to see. Michigan, high-speed track, 12th place finish. Pocono, the last kind of oval, quote-unquote, we were on, 12th place finish. He's been strong all year on the intermediates. Atlanta, Chicago, throw him out. 13th last week at Sonoma, not bad, but I'm not worried as much. We do preach momentum a lot, but when you're completely shifting styles, I'm less concerned about the momentum coming off of those runs. This is a team that knows they can show up on these high-speed intermediates and he's been really good in what we've seen, from him so far at Dover in the past in both series. So absolutely love Josh Berry. And Poji Joe saying it's concrete. Josh Berry, I think they probably raced some concrete in the late models, right? So give me Josh Berry this week. He's been really good on this track already. And this team has showed they can compete in the high-speed intermediates this year. So I think it's a perfect combo for, especially only at 60.
Yeah, and honestly, too, I think he's due to come back again, right? I mean, it's such a darling at the beginning of the season, obviously coming out winning that race. And we thought, oh, man, this is Josh Berry's year in the Cup Series. And then all of a sudden, it just sort of fell off. But now I think it's time for him to come on back. And like Boji just said, maybe the new tire package gives him a little bit of a boost, and maybe we can see,
That's actually, if the tires do end up being something kind of crazy, that plays big time in a guy like Josh Berry's favor. While he is only in his second year full-time in the Cup Series, a veteran race car driver, don't forget he's 33, 34 years old, late models for a long time. In the late model racing, it is a lot about tires. He's really good at that type of stuff. And probably why he's translated already to being so good at a track that's nicknamed the Monster Mile, because it chews up your tires. It's translated well for him, and I think that's going to be even more.
Agreed.
So
Boji Joe wants to know what the best wine I drank at Sonoma was. I did not drink any wine. I am a professional. I stay away from alcohol while I am working. And plus
no wine in the garage area unless you win, or you have to drink apple juice.
Yes, or get sticky drinking apple juice if you're Connor's Village. I did have my first Celsius ever. It was an orange slice, and it was pretty good. So love it. All right. Somebody I did get a chance to talk to while I was in Sonoma, who obviously didn't drink wine either, was Michael McDowell. I was going to read McDriver off of my Michael McDowell. So I will take McDriver at $7,100 as my mid-tier driver. I just want some, like, if you look at the guys that are around McDowell in that $7,100 range over there.
He's only $6,000.
Did I get it wrong? I'll have you know that I was doing this in the car on my phone in between things today. So,
don't admit. Okay, in between things, that's fine. I was gonna say don't admit that you're
not while I
doing
was driving. No.
But yes, he is only $6,000, so even more of a savings.
Even
than
better.
Thought.
So you look around him, and you got Daniel Suarez, who I can't really make a case for on this track. John Hunter, Noah Gragson, Zane Smith, Stenhouse, Jones. I made a case for Jones earlier, and maybe I probably would have gone with Jones, but you can listen to my reasoning for Jones as a top 10 in the betting. So, but I like to pick different drivers. And for Michael McDowell, look, if you guys are thumping your chests about Noah Gragson, Michael McDowell is an equally talented, if not more talented driver right now in the same equipment, that 71 equipment. Now, granted, he got you 17 points last year, but that wasn't in that Spire equipment. Michael McDowell got you minus 21.2 points the race before that. But in 2022, he got you a nice firm little 30-point day, starting 32nd and finishing 22nd. So, it was able to get you a nice 30-point day. And at $6,000, that's even better. That's 5 times what you're paying for him. And McDowell has turned in some solid DFS days, right? Last week, he got you 52 points. The week before that in Chicago, -8. So we throw that out because it doesn't take our argument and further it. 40 points the week before that as well. And then -1, 40, 14, 8, 49, 39. He'll throw up some duds, but then he'll also throw up some 40-point performances. So you ride the swings with Michael McDowell, and this is obviously a GPP play because you get the upside of a possible 40-point day. But again, you take that in stride because you could also get the negative 21 days, right? So, and really that big day was at Atlanta, and that was kind of tough. But again, for me, this is Spire equipment. We've seen it be good. You guys are all over Carson Osavar. So I don't know that too many people are going to be on Michael McDowell this week thinking that, he's probably not going to turn in a good performance. And that's your detriment. So I'll take Michael McDowell $7,100.
I think those people might be right, Rod, because I have 2 issues with this with McDowell. 24 career starts here. He's never finished better than 17th. That is rough. We talk about guys who are really good here. He's not been. He's only got 1 finish better. I mean, in his last 11 starts, he's not finished better. 1 time he's finished better than 20th. So That's rough, but he's gone over to Spire, right? We've seen the speed they have. I know you're a big Carson Hocevar guy, so I get it. You don't want to pick Hocevar, so you use his teammates. Fine. The only other problem with that is he probably is going to qualify well because they've had so much speed. That might take him out of my player pool because of that, but I think that a lot of the pros, quote unquote, the people who dig into the data and stats are going to look at him and his results here, like I did, and probably not play him. So he might be a bit of a differential play for you, and maybe that could pan out. He's a guy I can't seem to get my head wrapped around this week, but at only $6,000, the upside possibly exists, I guess.
Well, but that's the thing. Like at it's $6,000 now, so let me update that. But even still, again, because for me, I'm looking at it as a standpoint of everybody's going to be off of him. And yeah, maybe it's for good reason, but what if he does jump up and get you a nice top 15 finish? And what if he does start sort of in the back or has troubles or anything? I mean, McDowell is a decent enough driver to get that done. And yeah, this is new equipment for him. He hasn't been good here. Remember what he was been in beforehand. So I'll give him a little bit of credit.
Yeah, some of those front row teams were good, but to your point, this is definitely the best car he's been in. So I will, give you
Indeed.
points.
All right. Well then, Cody, let us go all the way down and find our low price drivers for this slate.
Well, Rod, there's only 4 drivers still battling for $1 million. Tyrone Dillon is one of those guys. $5,000. We're going back to the trusty Ty Dillon. Rarely, if ever, lets us down. Only $5,000. I love him, and I'm going to take him again this week. Look, we've seen this bracket thing has given a team like that something to focus on. Like, did you hear how excited they were last week when he got Bowman in the final corner? Like, they've got something to race for. They know they're not going to go out and win on a week-to-week basis. They're probably not very often going to compete for top 10s on a week-to-week basis, right? They've got to find, these pennies to stack, if you will, or things to accomplish. And this is a big goal for them. So I think that, going up against John Hunter Nemechek this week, you're going to see a good effort out of this team. You look back at what he's done here, 36 last year, or 2 years ago, rather. He didn't race here last year. He was in the Truck Series, but wrecked out in the Spire 77 car. Again, different Spire team than the one you were just talking about. 27th here in the Petty GMS car, not too bad. Those were his only 2 starts in next gen. But if you go back to the old car, in the Germain Racing 13, the old Geico car, a 3rd place qualifying effort in 2020, pretty good. But 18th place finish, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 22nd, 14th place in that car. So in the equipment he was in, pretty decent runs, right? Now you stepping up and, same thing with Michael McDowell. He's in the best equipment he's been in so far. Funny thing to say about Colleague, but it is true, right? They've had a pretty good season so far with both of the teams, and he's performed really well. And if you go back and look at what he's done, again, skip through some of the stuff. 8th at Atlanta was great. 17th at Sonoma was fine. Even Chicago, 20th, good finishes. 33rd at Pocono, you'd hope for a little bit better, but 24th at Michigan, big high-speed track, good solid run there. 26th at Nashville, you'll take it. 19th at Charlotte, you like to see that. The upside of 12th place at Texas, that's a good run. Darlington, comp track to this, starts 29th, finishes 16th. That is a strong day. You like to see that. 21st at Las Vegas. Doesn't need to have a big, impressive day. Just go out there, mind their P's and Q's, try and finish 1 spot ahead of John Hunter Nemechek, and easy day for him, right? $5,000. Ty Dillon's a guy that I think only 1 week this season has got you negative points, maybe 2. So he's been a guy that, and he's not going to start well in general. He's had some good qualifying efforts, but generally starts a little farther back. But Boji just saying, I brought up Geico to sell Ty Dillon. Geico was a sponsor for the 13 car, and it was not a good car. I mean, it was comparable to a Rick Ware, probably not even as good as a Rick Ware car is these days, right? So, and yeah, Boji Joe says John Hunter Nemechek over Ty Dillon. Everybody said that about Denny Hamlin and Brad Keselowski and Alex Bowman. Ty Dillon, not a guy in his glass slipper that I want to get in the way of right now, Rod. And I won't, because I'm going to play him.
Ty Dillon, Giant Slayer, man. Literally just taking them down one by one by one. And John Hunter Nemechek, not particularly a giant. I've stood next to him. We both see eye to eye in that case, but absolutely love it. All right. I am going to go all the way down, one notch above you, but still all the way down. I'm going to take Cole Custer. $5,100 for young Cole Custer. His average finish here as a Cup driver, 11.5 in Haas equipment. Okay, he's still in that Haas car. It's not necessarily the same Stewart Haas equipment, but he's still the one that's bearing the flag for the garage, right? But his finishes here, 15th, 10th, 10th, 11th. That's kind of impressive, though. That 41 car, yeah, okay, it may not be the car he's in now, but he started 30th in 2022, finished 15th. Started 30th in 2021, finished 10th. Started 10th in 2020, finished 10th. Started 21st in that first 2020 race and finished 11th. So actually pretty damn good days all the way around for Cole Custer on this track. He hasn't been on it in a while, right? And so this will be his first opportunity to be on it in a Cup car in a while. But this season, middling, right? He's averaging 24.4 place finish, and then averages started 23.8. He's averaging 23.4 rather fantasy points per race, which, you know, at $5,000 is still almost 5 times what you're paying for him. So that's still not a bad investment and a return on investment for Cole Custer. And, you know, all you want him to do is start in that 30 range and find his way up to a 20th place finish or so. And that's all the better for you, right? Which is what they've been doing basically all season long. And like I said, I'll take that, especially out of a guy that's only $5,100. So give me Cole Custer, $5,100.
Yeah, if you'd not beat me to the dock, I would have had this play in there. I highlighted him on the betting episode back on Tuesday. Boji Joe agrees with you, loves this bet. He's looking for Cole Custer's old sponsor. I don't know. Custer's not had that many sponsors. He mostly rides the Haas automation. He is occasionally sponsored by Andy's Frozen Custard as Cole Custard, so that's always good. But yeah, I love this play as well. I think that he's a very sneaky guy because he's so far off the radar. A lot of people don't even remember he's in the Cup Series. You know, the biggest question is we've gone from Stewart Haas to Haas. Yes, but the people who have been good on this track have been good on this track. He's been so good on this track. Even, you know, when he was in the 41 for Stewart Haas, it's not like he was Kevin Harvick, right? I mean, he had his days. He didn't have his days, but always had his days here. We talked about him yesterday, actually, on the Xfinity show, as you were looking through some stats to compare some of the current Haas drivers over there and how good. And Cole Custer was a guy who jumped off the page. Good here in the Xfinity Series as well. I think he's definitely a sneaky guy that, you know, the sharper players are going to be on him because they're going to see the stats here. But most of the general public is not even going to give him a second thought because, honestly, why would you most weeks, right? This is the week to jump on a Cole Custer because he's been really, really strong at a track like this. And Rod, honestly, if you're starting to get to the point in your one and done pools where things are getting a little bit hairy and you got to really start figuring out your picks as we go down the stretch here. We're over halfway through the season, right? Picks are getting lower. Custer's a guy to consider playing this week just based on how good his history is here. Probably not going to be anywhere else that he's going to jump off the page to you. And when you're likely going to have to use just about every driver throughout the season, this might be the best spot to use him in. So definitely a guy that I will consider in my one and done stuff this week.
All right. Well, then get out your pen and paper. We're going to go over our DFS plays for this Dover race. Cody started you off with Denny Hamlin at $11,000 as his high price driver. I said Chase Elliott at $10,000 was mine. Cody dropped down to Joshua Berry at $6,800 for his mid-tier driver. I said McDriver, Michael McDowell, $6,000, mind you, is the mid-tier driver for me. Cody gave you Tyrone Dillon at $5,000 for his low-price driver, and I said Cold Custard at $5,100 was my low-price driver. All right, Cody, that'll do it for the DFS part of this show. We'll step aside, and when we come back, we will tell you all about our favorite underdog fantasy plays for this. But first, allow me to officially introduce you to our friends over at Underdog. Underdog Best Ball Mania. It's happening all summer long. They're giving away $5 million in prizes, including $2 million to first place. There's no waiver wire. There's no arguments about trades. Best Ball is the best way to play fantasy football. Underdog also is a great place to play Pick'em. And you want to know why? Because we're going to tell you why. Coming up after the break, we're going to give you all of our favorite Underdog fantasy plays for this race. Sign up with our promo code RACESGPN. In the meantime, claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus credits. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code RACESGPN. You've heard us talk about Rhythm before. They just dropped a game-changing feature called Power Trends. It's essentially the best of what their house model has to offer. These are AI-detected patterns where Rhythm's model has consistently won and has a high ROI. Think a strikeout prop that wins 59% of the time, win the line and win probability hit a certain range. Power Trends, updated daily and exclusive to Rhythm. No touts, no noise, just clean data-backed bets. MLB Power Trends are 254 and 147 with a win rate of 63% and an ROI of 4.5% in their past 400 bets. WNBA Power Trends, 35 and 20 since their launch, 63.64% win rate with a 20.7% ROI. Go download that Rhythm app, check out Power Trends, and start betting smarter. You know that we are going to be. Chandler Simpson, looking at him right now, center fielder for the Rays. Well, let's see. It looks like Rhythm is giving us a prediction of 1.4 total bases for Chandler Simpson. If you can find the prop line at 1.5, they're telling you to take the under on this one. So Chandler Smith, 1.4 total bases is what Rhythm is predicting with their Power Trend, and the current prop line 1.5, leaning you to take the under. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. Gotta love it. Got to love it. And again, if you're a WNBA fan, they got WNBA on there as well. I know they're about to head to the All-Star break, but stay up on it and have some fun with Rhythm.
Tons of good stuff over on Rhythm. And 49 days from today, Rod. I don't know who's counting, but we're almost at NFL season, and that's what I look forward to the most outside of NASCAR. So I am pumped to get on Rhythm and get those NFL models dialed in before season gets here.
Amen. All right. Our other presenting sponsor, Underdog Fantasy, has once again given us some fantastic projections for our drivers, and we are going to pounce on a few of those and hope that they all stay where they're supposed to, and that they multiply you to a very nice little payday. So the premise is simple, Cody. You get the finishing projection from Underdog. You decide whether or not that driver will finish better than or worse than that finishing position. You line up a bunch of them and go after it. And at the end of the day, you cash out and have yourself some fun.
Absolutely, Rod. It's as easy as that. Underdog is a great place to be. And speaking of NFL season, those best ball drafts are in full swing right now. I might or might not be in a lot of slow drafts currently at the moment. I love Underdog for their best ball stuff, but Pick'em, of course, wonderful too. And I'm excited about this play that I'm going to start off with, Rod. Alex Bowman, better than 9.5. Alex Bowman's been pretty good here. In his last 7 starts at Dover, one time has he not finished better than this. That's probably the only stat you really need. He's been good here. The 48 car has been good here. The 48 car loves this place. Jimmy Johnson won here 11 times. Granted, they came here twice a year, but 11 times is pretty impressive. Barry's only made 2 starts in the next gen era. Of course, Bowman has only made 2 starts in the next gen era. Of course, in 23, I mixed up the spots, but Barry filled in for him, finished in 10th. So just worse than this, but a solid run nonetheless. 8th place last year for Bowman, 5th place in 22. He actually won here in 21, 5th place, had a 21st in there, but 2nd place. Back in the 21st was technically in the 88 car before he switched to the 48. So in the 48 car, undefeated here at better than 9.5. This season has been up and down for Bowman. I will go with that. But when it's been up, he finishes better than this. And that's what I'm looking at, right? Pocono, 11th place. Okay, so not quite better then. But rough days in Michigan, rough day in Nashville. But Kansas, a 5th place finish. Rough day at Charlotte, rough day at Texas. Some other rough days in here. But Miami, 2nd place. Las Vegas, 7th place. Phoenix, 7th place. When he's been on, he's been on. And it's basically good single-digit finishes, or he's finishing last or second to last because he wrecked out, had a mechanical issue, something like that. So if he has a issue-free day, right, he should easily be inside of the top 9, I guess, with this play, with this projection, because he is just about every single time they come to this track, a place that he loves. And we talked earlier, Gibbs is really good here. Hendrick is also really good here. And to speak to the chalkiness of it, their drivers are typically the ones kind of up front at the end of the day at these tracks. So love Alex Bowman this week at better than 9.
I agree with you. And I had a little more to say about him on the betting episode, and believe you did too as well. So definitely with you on the Bowman one. A guy I am definitely fading this weekend is Brad Keselowski. His projection is set at 13.5. I will take the worse than in this instance. I mean, Brad Keselowski in the last 4 races on this track has only finished better than 13.5 once, and that was the 8th place finish in 2023. Outside of that, a 16th place finish in 2021, 20th in 2022, and a 30th place finish after starting 24th in 2024. His average finish on this track is exactly 13.5. Now, if you were to give me Brad Keselowski in the 2 car on this track at better or worse than 13.5, I would probably take the better than, because Brad Keselowski did that quite a bit. From 2012 on, he only had, 3 finishes outside of the 13th place in that span, leading up to his 16th place finish in his final ride in the 2 car. So he won the race in 2012, 5th, 37th, 2nd, 12th, 16th, 6th, 4th, 38th, 10th, 6th, 14th, 12th, 11th, 9th, 8th, and then 16th. But that is not the Brad Keselowski we are seeing right now with our very own eyes. And unfortunately, it's really not the Brad Keselowski that's shown himself all season long. Average finish for him this year, 22.4. 6 DNFs in 20 starts. 4 top 10 finishes, 2 top 5 finishes. It has not to write home about for Brad Keselowski. And on a track where he struggles in this 6 car, at 13.5 seems like a very, very, pie in the sky type of a finish for Brad Keselowski this week. He may give you a good solid top 15. He'll definitely give you a good solid top 20. But I'm not sure that we're going to be seeing him fighting for a top 10 spot by the end of this race. So it's going to be Brad Keselowski worse than 13.5.
Yeah, we've seen some speed out of that 6 car on some of the intermediate stuff, but putting together a full race has been a bit of a struggle for them. And I think it's hard to talk yourself into the better than side of this for Keselowski. So I'll agree with you on the worse than side. But for his teammate, I am going to go to the better than side. First off, I wanted to, Boji Joe said, any advice for who to follow for pro golf betting? We've got just the show for you. It's the Golf Gambling Podcast. Make sure you check those guys out. Matt and Dom do a great job over there. I know the Sports Gambling Podcast had an episode this week as well on the Open, Rod, a.k.a. the British Open. I believe that's already probably teed off at this point on a Thursday, but maybe you find some stuff you like, nuggets you like in that. That'll help you craft the rest of your weekend. But those are great follows when it comes to golf. All right, Chris Buescher, better than 13.5. The teammate I was mentioning didn't hit this last year, finished in 17th, but the 2 previous years in the next gen, 9th, 8th place finishes. That's kind of what we've come to expect from Chris Buescher. Started on the pole here even in 2022, so a nice note there. But he's been strong this year, especially on these bigger intermediate tracks. You go back through, he had rough weeks at Sonoma and Chicago. I'm glad those are behind us. But 9th at Atlanta, okay, we like that. But 4th at Pocono. 10th at Mexico City is even not bad. 2nd at Michigan, though. Back into these types of tracks that are similar to this, right? Kansas, 8th place run. Darlington, comp track, 6th place run. Miami had a 6th place finish there as well. A couple of the other races struggled, but we've seen RFK put together some good races, particularly on the intermediates lately, getting all 3 in the top 10 a couple of times. Priest has shown a lot of stuff. Keselowski, again, he's shown the speed, but hasn't been able to put the races together. I think that's why you lean towards his worse than. But for Buescher, outside of a horrible pit decision last week and some mechanical troubles at Chicago, he's been really good as of late. And he's been solid enough on this track that I'm willing to take it. Again, 8th, 9th in 2 of the 3 races here in the next gen. And even prior to that, in the old Roush Fenway racing, which was nowhere close to what RFK is today, 17th, 14th, 16th in the old car. So good runs before. That was the Chris Buescher that had never won, that we hadn't seen be Chris Buescher that we know today, right? And those were good enough runs, kind of keeping him in the mix there. Now all he's got to do is finish inside of the top 13. Love that for Chris Buescher. Even though he's kind of burned us the last 2 weeks, I'm not scared off just yet, Rod. Give me Chris Buescher better than 13.
Plus, he's got a fire paint scheme. Like, it's such a good paint scheme this week. I think I'll give him the nod that he's gonna have a good day on this track in particular. So, all right. Well, look, I tend to be the better than guys, but I am the worse than guy today, unfortunately, and I'm going to take William Byron. His finishing projection is sit at 6.5. I'm going to take the worse than on this one as well. I did not get to Brad Keselowski's average finishing position on iFantasy Race in the Next Gen Era on this one. He is 17th. Brad Keselowski is at 19.3. One spot below him is William Byron, 18th worst average finish here, 19.7 for William Byron in the Next Gen Era on this track with finishes of 22nd and 33rd. He crashed out last year. He does have a 4th place finish on top of that, a couple more 4th place finishes. I mean, I get it, but his average finish on this track, notwithstanding, even in all of his years in the 24 cars, 14.9. He's only got 4 top 10 finishes in 10 starts. We tend to joke about the, summer slump of William Byron. Well, it is in full swing. Michigan, 28th. Mexico City, 9th place. That's fantastic, right? But Pocono, 27th. Atlanta, 37th. Chicago, 40th. And then, of course, in Sonoma, he got 8th place, but that is still not better than 6th. The last place that he had a 6th place or better finish was Nashville when he finished in 5th, and then Charlotte before that, but 24th at Kansas, 13th at Texas. So ever since Texas has just been a very much of a roller coaster for young William Byron. And, a top 5 finish for William Byron on a track in which he's struggled, right? I mean, he led 193 laps in 2023 and ended up finishing 4th, which is great. But like I said, it's just been one of those stretches for William Byron where he hasn't been able to get a whole lot accomplished, and it hasn't looked good on this track. So I'm going to edge on the side of him continuing the trend of not being a 7th place driver or a 6th place driver or better, and count on him to still, I mean, again, he can still finish inside of the top 10, which is a good solid day for William Byron, but I just don't think it's going to be better than 6th.
Yeah, I love this. I faded him in a matchup head-to-head on the betting episode earlier this week, and we're also in peak fade William Byron season. This race a lot later in the summer than it usually is. He's already kind of in that summertime mindset. So I completely love this fade of William Byron. And again, another play that if you hadn't beat me to the dock and got it in here, absolutely had this one circled to be one of my, this would probably actually is my favorite play on the board. I'm super out on William Byron at the moment. So I love this play. Boji Joe says he loves this show because, Rod, we connect fans from Cali to Illinois and all in between. And just to update the Laura situation, she answered her phone. So they're now listening to the show together or watching the show together on the phone. So I like that. And Boji had a question. He said, is Penske going to be bad this weekend? I think that's an interesting question, Rod. So drivers' averages, if you like to look at their site, which I do, they pretty much have everything set in the basic box. Like you can go into each individual driver and team, look at stuff farther back, but everything's kind of set to next gen era, right? So since February of 2022. So they've got your best average finishers, your best on intermediate tracks, 1 mile category. Then they have the top team averages at Dover since February of 2022. Joe Gibbs Racing, top of the board, and no surprise, we've talked a lot about them. Hendrick Motorsports, then it's Trackhouse, then it's RFK, then it's Hayek Motorsports. Okay, interesting. Then it's Colleague. Then it's 2311. That's it, 18.2 average finish. The sheet runs out there, Rod. Penske not even mentioned, which leads me to old Joseph Logano, worse than 13.5. I'm back on fading Joey Logano this week. As you look through average finishes since 2022, Rod, you got Martin Truex Jr. at the top, Ross Chastain, Chase Elliott, Alex Bowman, Denny Hamlin, guys we've talked about. You scroll down and you see guys like Harrison Burton and Eric Almirola and Justin Haley and Corey LaJoy, and you got to keep scrolling, and Corey Haim. Oh, there's Joey Logano in 35th place with an average finish of 25.3 here in the next gen era. He's not been good, Rod. That's really the summary. 16th place last year, his best run. 31st, 29th in the 2 previous runs. Now, the interesting thing is he was good here in the old car. 5th, 6th, 8th, 34th, but 7th, 3rd. Really good runs, similar to what you talked about a minute ago with Keselowski in the old car, in the 2 car. This track has not seemed to be as good to the Penske drivers in particular. Now, Ryan Blaney, bit of an outlier. He's definitely had some good runs. And we talked about him, although his average finish also not super great on this track either, because he's got a bad finish in there. I mean, 12.0, so it's not horrible. And we talked about him on the betting episode, but there's not really an outlier that's bad for Logano here. It's 2 really bad races and 1 okay race, but the okay race was still not good enough for him to get here. The one thing that kind of held me back a little bit on this is we've seen speed out of the Penske camp. We've seen speed out of Wood Brothers, as I mentioned with Josh Berry earlier, but you go back and you look at the results sheet, again, on the more traditional oval type tracks, 16th at Pocono, not better than. 22nd in Michigan, not better than. Nashville, he was 4th, but that track's not as comparable to this. He was 9th at Kansas, so we'll give him some credit in those two, but 17th at Charlotte. He did win at Texas, but 24th at Bristol. 13th at Darlington, so right on the line, but 14th at Miami, 15th at Las Vegas. None of those more not better thans than better thans, I guess, is what I'm going with here. So Joey Logano, hardest guy in the garage to predict, right? He could come out and win this race and shock everybody because that's a Joey Logano type of thing to do. But all the numbers are steering me towards he's not been good here in the next gen era. And this season, while it's been up and down, it's been down more times than it's been up. So give me Joey Logano worse than 13.
Yeah, I my research led me to this as well, and that's why it's hard to take him even in a betting episode for as well, which is why I think we stayed away from him there also. I know Boji Joe's been screaming for AJ, but on this track in particular, Boji, I just want to tell you his average finish here, 22.7. His last finishes have been 13th, 18th, 33rd, 22nd, 21st, 28th, 18th, 19th. Not much here that's making me back AJ.
Hard to find a way to get, like, his top 10 number wasn't great. You could maybe make some of a case on the DFS side of things. Underdog, I think, just has him listed as like you can do, better than 10.5, but it's only 1.71 times your money, and you're not going to take him top Chevys 15 times your entry, but that's not going to cash, right? So, it's tough to be on.
It is, and I love him. He's my spirit driver. I missed a chance to actually give him a fist bump on his way out of the driver introductions, and I was a little bit ticked off, but that's all right. All right, how about Ross Chastain? Anybody want some Ross Chastain? Let's end on a positive note from Rod here. Ross Chastain's finishing position is set at 9.5. I'm going to go ahead and take the better than. I could just pretty much give you one stat and rest my case and allow Ryan from iFantasy Race to be the sole reason why I'm picking this, because if you look at the next gen average finishes, it's Chase Elliott at 5.7, and then it's Ross Chastain at 5.7. Finishes of 2nd, 3rd, and 12th over the last 3 seasons here on this track. We talk about drivers just being good at this track, right? Ross Chastain led 86 laps in 2022, finished 3rd, led 98 laps and finished runner-up in 2023. Unfortunately, like we said, it was a 12th place finish for him last year after starting 22nd, but Ross just really, really finding his footing on this track. Won at Charlotte, finished 2nd at Fort Worth in Texas, 7th at Bristol, 7th at Darlington, 6th at Martins, 5th at Las Vegas. It's been a really good run for Ross Chastain on the oval tracks. So 6th at Michigan earlier too. So again, a nice little run of 9th or better finishes for Ross Chastain on some of these ovals. Pocono was 26th, triangle, not an oval. That's where I'm going with it. Sonoma 24th, 10th at Chicago, 33rd in Atlanta Super Speedway, crashed out. That happened. 16th in Mexico City. So a stretch of runs for Ross Chastain that hasn't necessarily put him in the best of footing, but he does have 9 top 10 finishes and 20 starts this season, and I think he's in for another one on this particular track, because again, there's a lot of drivers that are getting to Dover right now and saying, oh, thank God. Because this stretch of super speedways and road courses and triangle tracks have gotten these guys probably delirious to where they're going to set foot on a real oval again, and they're going to feel right at home. So I think Ross has got a lot of that going for him. And I think he's going to have a 9th place finish or better.
Yeah, I love this play. Another guy that's been good here time and time again. TK pointing out he's doing the double. Of course, we talked about him on the Xfinity show yesterday. Rod's fading him over there, but I don't know if that was a good idea. But he'll have those extra laps on the track, which we know these cars aren't completely similar, but laps on a track is laps on a track, and there's things that can translate for drivers that are good like that. So
I agree. And the only reason I'm fading him on the Xfinity Series side of it is because I feel like it's just, there's so many guys that are good over there. And there's so many guys that are good over here too, but like, I don't know. This is his normal ride. This is the ride that he's always in. And something always tends to go wrong with these guys, these Cup guys over there when they go do the doubles. So, all right, get out your pen and paper. We're going to go over our underdog fantasy picks for this race. Cody gave you Alex Bowman better than 9.5. I gave you Brad Keselowski worse than 13.5. Cody gave you Chris Buescher better than 13.5. I gave you William Byron worse than 6.5. Cody gave you Joey Logano worse than 13.5. And I said Ross Chastain would finish better than 9.5 in this AutoTrader EchoPark Automotive 400 from the Dover Motor Speedway.
You put all these together, Rod, 35 times your entry fee, $10, win you a cool $350. So make sure you head over to Underdog, use that promo code RACESGPN to get signed up. Real quick before we get out of here for the week, Rod, breaking news. 2311 and Front Row Motorsports will be open teams for at least the upcoming race at Dover and Indianapolis after they were denied a temporary restraining order from to keep NASCAR from revoking their chartered status. So they are now officially open cars. Again, not going to have any impact on them making the race this weekend. Probably not the rest of the season. We likely won't have any races with more than 40 entries. But they will be paid at a third of the chartered teams and what they get paid for. So the judge did say the court understands NASCAR's agreement to be that it will not transfer or convey charters in any matter, not just through a sale. If NASCAR intended otherwise, it is directed to immediately inform the court prior to undertaking any transaction. So essentially the court's saying, they believe NASCAR is going to operate in good faith, not sell these charters until this case is settled. And if they plan to do otherwise, they need to tell the court. So that's where we're at on that. But again, that's a whole other thing that's, completely crazy and stuff. And Bob Hocker's tweeting about it right now. So go check out his X page there if you want kind of all his takes and summaries on things over there.
But what happens if the charters accidentally fall out of the briefcase and it's like, oh, look,
like when Mike Leach dropped the play sheet back in the day at was that at Texas or something? He drops the play sheet they're not going to use on purpose, and it's like, oh, they got the play sheet. How did that happen?
Oh, what did the charters? Look, who got these charters? Oh, I'm sorry, guys. They picked them up when what is it? Possession is 9/10 of the law. Sorry, guys, didn't mean to, but. Yeah, okay. Well, this will be fun. This will be fun to watch this play out through the rest of the season. And like we said, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about in the silly season, but we're not there yet, Cody. We got to get through Dover and the rest of the season first.
We got plenty of season left, and thank God for it, Rod. All right, let's get out of here for the week, but good luck this week at the Monster Mile. You can follow me over on the X at Husker_Zeeb. Find all my work there, tons and tons of stuff for sportsgamblingpodcast.com and the network. Get out to your local short tracks, Rod. I'm going to be out this weekend, Eagle Raceway, doing a little bit of pit reporter stuff again. So excited for that. I'll share some of that over on the X as well. So make sure you follow me at Husker_Zeeb. You can check all that out. Best of luck this weekend at the Monster Mile. We'll see you guys next week.
Yes, sir. Follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. Link in about everything I got going on, whether it's here. Make sure you're checking out me on the back Nicolette tonight as we talk about Dover and all of our favorite bets for that race. And there's a lot of other great stuff on there as well. We will see you next week for more exciting NASCAR Gambling Podcast action. And until then, let's go racing and let it ride.
Sweet as velvet.